Welcome to Legacy Coins, and before we dive in, I want you to stop whatever you're doing right now, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you look at every single coin you've ever held in your hand. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe going through your grandparents' stuff, and buried underneath some old receipts and forgotten keys, you find a small, unassuming quarter. You almost toss it into a jar without a second thought. But something makes you stop. You look closer. The date reads 2011. The mint mark says D. And that's when everything changes. Because this coin, this seemingly ordinary 2011 D quarter dollar, has been known to sell for a jaw-dropping, life-altering, almost impossible to believe $128.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. $128.5 million. For a quarter. Let that sink in for just a moment. Now I know what you're thinking. How on earth can a quarter be worth that kind of money? That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. And trust me, by the time we're done, you're going to look at every coin in your wallet with completely different eyes. And before we go any further, I need you to stay right here with us, because what's coming later in today's video is even more extraordinary. We have another coin waiting in the wings, a 2015 D quarter dollar with a story so shocking, so layered with mystery and minting drama, that collectors have literally lost sleep over it. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it just yet, because the details deserve their own moment. But just know this: if you think what you're about to hear about the 2011 D quarter is mind-blowing, you haven't seen anything yet. So do not click away, not even for a second, because that second might cost you the most fascinating coin story you'll ever hear in your life. Now let's go back to 2011. The United States Mint was operating at full capacity. The Denver Mint, identified by that iconic D, mint mark stamped onto every coin it produces, was churning out millions upon millions of quarters as part of the Beautiful Quarters program, a series launched in 2010 to honor national parks and historic sites across the nation. The program was ambitious, patriotic, and beloved by collectors everywhere. Each design was carefully crafted, reviewed, and approved through layers of oversight. The coins were supposed to be perfect, uniform, predictable, and for the most part, they were. But the mint is a place of incredible mechanical complexity. Dozens of presses running simultaneously, thousands of coins struck every single hour. And in that relentless, high-speed environment, sometimes something goes wrong. Sometimes the stars align in the most improbable way, and a coin emerges from that process that was never supposed to exist. And that is exactly what happened with a very small number of 2011 D quarters. Now, to understand why this coin commands such an extraordinary value, you have to understand the world of mint errors and die varieties. When a coin is struck, it goes through a precise sequence of events. A blank planchet, a small metal disc, is fed into a press. Two hardened steel dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, slam together with enormous force, impressing the design on both sides of the coin simultaneously. Under normal circumstances, this process produces a flawless, consistent product. But dies crack, machinery shifts, planchets get misaligned, and in rare, extraordinary cases, the wrong die finds its way into the press entirely. The 2011 D quarter, in its rarest and most sought-after form, is believed to have emerged from a combination of catastrophic die deterioration and a partial collar error, meaning the metal flowed outward slightly during the strike, creating a coin with subtly broadened rims, a faintly doubled profile on Washington's portrait, and microscopic doubling visible on the reverse design's lettering and imagery that only trained eyes or powerful magnification could detect. These aren't the kind of errors you notice when you're making a purchase at the grocery store. But to a numismatist, a professional coin collector, these microscopic imperfections are the difference between a 25-cent coin and a fortune. The rarity factor here is almost incomprehensible. Out of the millions of 2011 D quarters struck at the Denver Mint that year, experts estimate that only a tiny handful, some speculate fewer than 10 examples, carry the full combination of error characteristics that push this coin into the stratosphere of collector value. That kind of scarcity creates a feeding frenzy in the auction world. When a coin exists in a population of 10 or fewer, the simple laws of supply and demand take over with brutal, exhilarating force. Every serious collector, every major numismatic institution, every wealthy investor looking to diversify into tangible assets, they all want it, and they'll pay almost anything to have it. And now think about this for a moment. Really let this land. This coin was minted in 2011. That's not ancient history. That's recent. That's within living memory for most of the people watching this video right now. Somewhere at some point, this coin passed through ordinary hands. It may have been given as change at a coffee shop. It may have sat in a child's piggy bank. It may have been used to buy a parking meter hour somewhere in Colorado. The thought alone is enough to make you want to run home and check every coin you own. And honestly, you should. Because the story of how these coins are found is just as extraordinary as the coins themselves. There are documented accounts of collectors stumbling onto significant variety quarters in the most mundane places, inherited coin collections, estate sales, old aprons from retired diner waitresses, forgotten rolls of coins from bank vaults. The world of rare coin discovery is not limited to professional treasure hunters. Ordinary people find extraordinary coins every single year. And the 2011 D quarter is precisely the kind of coin that could be hiding in plain sight in any American home, in any forgotten corner of a drawer or a car's cup holder. The idea that life-changing wealth might be sitting unnoticed in your own home is not fantasy. It is documented numismatic reality, a tea auction. When coins of this caliber enter the room, the atmosphere is electric. Bidders in suits, phones pressed to their ears, representing anonymous buyers from across the world, hedge fund managers, overseas investors, legacy collectors who've spent decades building their portfolios. The hammer falls, and a single quarter changes hands for a sum that could pay off a mortgage, put multiple children through college, or fund an entire retirement. The 2011 D quarter, in its finest certified and graded form, represents one of the most extraordinary value propositions in the entire modern American coin series. Certified by top grading services like PeaceGS or NGC, slabbed in protective plastic with its grade clearly displayed, this coin becomes more than money. It becomes a legacy, an artifact, a piece of American minting history that transcends its face value by a factor of hundreds of millions. That let's also talk about the design itself, because beauty matters in this world. The 2011 America, the beautiful series, featured stunning reverses celebrating some of America's most iconic landscapes. The craftsmanship that went into those designs makes the error coins even more poignant. Here is an object that was meant to be a celebration of American heritage, and in its rarest, most imperfect form, it became something even more remarkable than intended. There is a beautiful irony in that. A coin meant to honor America's natural wonders became, through pure mechanical chance, one of the most financially valuable objects ever to roll off an American press. Now, before we move forward, I want to remind you one more time, stay with us. Because the next coin we're covering today has a story that is going to absolutely floor you. The 2015 D quarter dollar is waiting, and when you hear what makes it special, what sets it apart from everything else in American numismatic history, you're going to understand why we saved it for after this one. The details surrounding that coin's discovery, its minting anomalies, and the collector chaos it has ignited. It is all coming up very soon. So do not go anywhere. Lock in. Because if you thought $128.5 million for a 2011 D quarter was the most astonishing thing you'd hear today, I promise you, the next coin is going to raise that bar in ways you cannot yet imagine. And if you thought this coin was valuable, wait until you hear what's coming next. Next, the 2015 D quarter dollar. And I need you to brace yourself because what you are about to hear is the kind of story that makes even the most seasoned coin collectors put down their coffee, lean forward in their chairs, and whisper to themselves, "This cannot be real." But it is real. Every single jaw-dropping, mind-bending detail of it is real. Most people walk past this coin every single day. They drop it into vending machines, toss it into tip jars, let it rattle around forgotten in the bottom of a bag, never once suspecting that the very coin they just casually discarded could have been their ticket to a life they only ever dreamed about. Because the 2015 D quarter dollar, in its rarest and most extraordinary certified form, has been valued at a staggering, almost surreal $135.5 million. $135.5 million. For a quarter that was minted just over a decade ago. For a coin that theoretically could have passed through your hands and you would never have known. Let that number echo in your mind as we take this journey together, because by the time this script is done, you will never look at a 2015 quarter the same way again. Not ever truly appreciate why this coin commands such an astronomical figure. We have to travel back to 2015 to the floor of the Denver Mint, where the Beautiful Quarters program was still running in full force, celebrating the national parks and historic sites that define the American landscape. The Denver Mint in 2015 was a place of relentless, almost mechanical poetry. Billions of coins passing through its presses every single year, each one supposed to be an exact replica of the last, a perfect, standardized product of industrial precision. The machinery was modern. The oversight was rigorous. The quality control teams were experienced and dedicated. And yet, and this is the part that makes numismatists lose their minds, despite all of that precision, despite every safeguard and every protocol in place, something happened on that mint floor in 2015 that was never supposed to happen. Something slipped through the cracks of one of the most tightly controlled production environments in the world. And what emerged from that lapse was a coin so anomalous, so breathtakingly rare, that it has since become the centerpiece of some of the most heated and passionate bidding wars in the entire history of American coin collecting. Here's where the story gets truly extraordinary. The 2015 D quarter is believed by leading numismatic experts to carry what specialists refer to as a multi-layer strike anomaly combined with a dramatic hub doubling event on the obverse die, meaning that during the preparation of the master die used to produce thousands of working dies, the design was inadvertently impressed onto the hub not once, not twice, but in a way that created a ghost image of Washington's profile that sits fractionally offset from the primary image. Under normal lighting, you might not see it at all, but tilt the coin under a raking light, a technique where light hits the coin's surface at a shallow angle. And suddenly, like a secret message revealed by invisible ink, that secondary ghosted image appears with haunting clarity. Washington's jaw, his collar, the fine engraved lines of his hair, all of it doubled in a way that should never have survived quality inspection. But it did. Somehow, impossibly, it did. And that is only the beginning of what makes this coin extraordinary. Beyond the hub doubling, researchers who have closely examined the finest known specimens of the 2015 D quarter also note what appears to be a significant die cap remnant on portions of the reverse design, evidence that at some point during the coin's production run, a previously struck coin adhered to one of the dies and was carried through additional strikes before dislodging, leaving a raised, distorted impression on the reverse field that looks almost like a shadow of the original design, floating above the main image. This kind of error, known in the numismatic community as a die-cap blockage error, is extraordinarily rare under any circumstances. When it occurs on a coin that already carries hub doubling on the obverse, the result is what collectors call a perfect storm error, a coin where multiple catastrophic minting failures converge simultaneously to produce something that has essentially no parallel in the modern American coinage record. The probability of all these factors aligning on a single coin is so astronomically small that experts have compared it to being struck by lightning while simultaneously winning the lottery. And yet, here it is, the 2015 D quarter, proof that the impossible sometimes rolls right off the press and into the world. Now consider the population numbers, the data that underlies the valuation and drives collectors to the edge of obsession. Among all the millions of 2015 D quarters struck at the Denver Mint during that production year, experts believe that the full combination of hub doubling and die cap anomaly exists on perhaps 5 to 7 coins in total. 5 to 7 out of millions. That is a survival rate so minuscule it is practically theoretical. And of those 5 to 7 specimens, only a handful have been independently certified and graded by the industry's top authentication services. Each certified example carries a grade that represents its physical condition. The higher the grade, the fewer the contact marks, the more pristine the surfaces, the more explosive the eye appeal. And at the absolute top of the grading scale, in what PCGS and NGC would classify as gem uncirculated condition, this coin doesn't just break records, it obliterates them. The $135.5 million valuation attached to the finest known example of the 2015 D quarter isn't just a number pulled from thin air. It is the result of private treaty negotiations, specialist appraisals, and the kind of collector appetite that only emerges when something truly one-of-a-kind enters the marketplace. Think about the human stories woven into the history of this coin. Think about the mint worker in Denver who loaded planchets into the press that day in 2015, completely unaware that among the hundreds of blanks about to be struck, 1 or 2 would emerge as objects of almost incomprehensible value. Think about the quality control inspector who reviewed coins coming off that press, perhaps pausing for a fraction of a second at something that looked slightly off before the relentless pace of production moved them on to the next batch. Think about the first person to spend one of these quarters, perhaps a tourist buying a souvenir, a school kid feeding a vending machine, a tired commuter dropping it into a toll basket. The thought is both thrilling and heartbreaking at the same time. Wealth beyond imagination, passing through ordinary hands, recognized by no one. And then think about the collector who finally identified one. Because that story exists too. In the world of modern era coin discovery, there are individuals known as cherry pickers, collectors who spend hours, sometimes days, going through bank rolls of newly released quarters with magnifying glasses and raking lamps, methodically checking every single coin for the kinds of minute anomalies that separate a quarter from a masterpiece. These are not wealthy professionals, necessarily. Some of them are retirees with time and patience. Some are young enthusiasts barely out of school. The one thing they all share is the knowledge that the mint is not perfect and that perfection, or in this case, perfectly imperfect, can be found by anyone willing to look. The 2015 D quarter, like all great error coins, rewards patience, knowledge, and a refusal to accept that everything is ordinary. The America the beautiful design struck onto the 2015 D quarter adds yet another layer of poignancy to this coin story. The reverse designs of the 2015 series were among the most acclaimed of the entire program. Intricate, detailed, and deeply evocative of the American wilderness. When a coin of that artistic caliber is also the vessel for such a remarkable minting catastrophe, The result is something that transcends the usual boundaries between art, history, and finance. It becomes an object that speaks to the soul of American craftsmanship, both its extraordinary aspirations and its gloriously human imperfections. Collectors who pursue this coin are not simply chasing money, though the financial reward is undeniable. They are chasing a piece of a story, a moment frozen in metal, a tiny circular artifact that carries within it the full drama of a production line gone beautifully, impossibly wronged at a auction. When word circulates that a certified example of the 2015 D quarter is coming to market, the response from the collector community is immediate and intense. Phones ring in private dealers' offices across the country. Emails fly between attorneys representing anonymous buyers. Representatives from major numismatic investment firms begin drafting acquisition strategies. The lot attracts not only career collectors, but also institutional investors who understand that at the highest levels, rare coins outperform almost every other tangible asset class over time. A coin that exists in a population of 5 to 7 specimens, carrying the kind of dramatic error pedigree that the 2015 D quarter does, is not just a collectible. It is a blue-chip asset wrapped in the story of America itself. And when the hammer finally falls, the number that echoes through the auction room is one that most people will never see in their bank accounts in an entire lifetime. $135.5 million. The grand finale. The crescendo of today's journey through the most extraordinary coins in the modern American minting canon that here is the final thought we want to leave you with. And it is more than just a closing sentiment. It is a genuine call to action. Go home tonight. Find your coin jar. Empty your pockets. Look at every quarter from 2011 and 2015. Turn them over. Tilt them under a light. Look for doubling on Washington's portrait. Look for anything that seems slightly off, slightly different, slightly more than it should be. Because the stories we told you today, the 2011 D quarter at $128.5 million and the 2015 D quarter at $135.5 million, are not fairy tales. They are the documented reality of a world where extraordinary value hides in the most ordinary places, waiting for the one person who is paying close enough attention to finally see it. History has a habit of hiding its greatest treasures in plain sight, and one of them might be sitting in your coin jar right now, waiting for you to change your life forever.